In the name of Allah, Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the show. For today's program, we'll be listening to a recitation by Sheikh Abul Ainain Shuaisha, verses 16 to 21 of surah Maryam. Okay, let's talk about Sheikh Abul Ainain Shuaisha himself. He was one of the greatest reciters in Egypt. This great reciter was born in 1922 in a village of Kafr Sheikh Governorate. Okay? Just like many other Egyptian reciters, and you know that Egyptian reciters are some of the best reciters in the Muslim world. Okay? He memorized the whole Quran before the age of 10. And he was going to the traditional school, and he was learning the rules of recitation, the rules of tajweed, and other things related to recitation. And he entered the radio when he was just 17 years old, man. He was probably the youngest reciter to enter the radio at the age of 17. He was just a teenager. That's how professionally he could recite the Quran. And that's how self-confident he was that the radio admitted him at this young age. One thing which is very interesting about Sheikh Abul Ainain Shuaisha is that he witnessed all of the generations of Quran recitation. The first generation was the beginning of the 19th century, where reciters such as Sheikh Muhammad Rifat, Sheikh Ali Mahmoud, Sheikh Muhammad Salama, Sheikh Muhammad Al-Sayfi, and other reciters lived during this period. He saw that age. And in fact, he was a follower of Sheikh Muhammad Rifat's style of recitation. He very precisely imitated the style of Sheikh Muhammad Rifat. He also witnessed the second generation of reciters, such as Abdul Basit, Minshawi, Kamal Yusuf al-Bahtimi, and other reciters, okay? And the third generation, he also witnessed Sheikh Sha'ban Abdul Aziz Sayyad, Sheikh Shahat Muhammad Anwar, Sheikh Abdul Al, and other reciters. And of course, the fourth generation is the current generation. We have reciters such as Anwar Shahat, Mahmoud Shahat, and Abdul Fattah Taruti, and other reciters. He witnessed all of the generations. And one of the officials of Egypt said that whenever I shake hands with Sheikh Abul Ainain Shuaisha, I feel as if his fingers are not his own. All of his fingers are not his own. One of them is for example, Sheikh Muhammad Rifat. Another is for Sheikh, for example, Minshawi, because he has witnessed all the generations of Quran recitation. Sheikh Abul Ainain Shuaisha, just like I said at the beginning, he followed the style of Sheikh Muhammad Rifat to such a point that, you know, Sheikh Muhammad Rifat had some incomplete recitations. Some parts of his recitations were missing. And Sheikh Abul Ainain Shuaisha would recite those missing parts with his own voice as if it is the voice of Sheikh Muhammad Rifat. And you probably couldn't tell the difference between his voice and Sheikh Muhammad Rifat's voice. And of course, just like all other reciters, he gradually developed his own style of recitation. This great reciter of the Quran passed away in the year 2012 at the age of 89. May Allah bless him and reward him.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Welcome back to all of you who are watching Wilayah TV. Now let's talk about the translation, the meaning, and the commentary of these verses. Verse 16 to 21 of Surah Maryam. Okay, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَرْيَمْ إِذِ انْتَبَذَتْ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا مَكَانًا شَرْقِيًّا. And remember in the book, meaning the Quran, Maryam, Mary, remember Mary in the book, whenever she went to an easterly place in order to supplicate Allah, probably. She wanted to go to a place which was quiet and secluded so she could engage in supplication of Allah there without anyone disturbing her. فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا فأرسلنا إليها روحنا فتمثل لها بشرا سويا. So she secluded herself completely, okay? And فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِن دُونِهِمْ means that she drew a curtain and no one was aware that she was in that place. And Allah says, we sent to her our spirit. Okay, so commentators have said that this spirit means the angel Gabriel, okay, Jibra'il, who came to her in the form of a well-proportioned and perfect human being. Okay, so when this happened, قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. She was all alone, right? And she was scared that just someone was approaching her, a very handsome and perfect human being was approaching her. And she quickly said, I seek refuge in Allah from you if you are God-wary. So she was scared, and she told that person to, stay away from me if you are God-wary. Then that angel said, قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. He said, I am just a messenger from your Lord, that I may give the good news of a pure son to you. So Mary was surprised. She was like, what? A son from me? قالت أنا يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا. How is it possible? She was surprised, and she was probably saying this in a loud voice. How is it possible for me to have a son, to have a child, when no human being has touched me, and I am not an immoral woman, an unchaste woman? The angel said, قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين. This will happen. Okay? قال كذلك. It's going to happen for sure. And it's easy for your Lord to do this. Okay? Just imagine. Allah created Prophet Adam from clay without a mother or father. So why would it be difficult for Allah to create a human being without just a father? So the angel said, it's simple for your Lord. وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا. And this is so Allah may make your son a sign for people. Okay? So it's a miracle, right? Because if a child is born without a father to a very chaste, virgin, righteous, and pious woman, it's a miracle, and it's a sign from Allah, and also a mercy from Allah. And the angel says, وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا. This will definitely happen. Okay, dear brothers and sisters, we're going to analyze the recitation that we're going to listen to today, which is Surah Maryam, verses 16 to 21. Okay, in these verses, Sheikh Shuaisha, when he reaches the part of the story where the angel comes into the form of a perfect human being to Mary and is approaching her, Mary says, I seek refuge in Allah from you if you are God-wary. He uses the qarar of his voice, the lower register of his voice, not the high register of his voice. Before that, he was using the high register of his voice. He was saying, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَرْيَمَ إِذِ انْتَبَذَتْ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا مَكَانًا شَرْقِيًّا فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِنْ دُونِهِمْ حِجَابًا فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. When he reaches this part of the verse, قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا, he uses the low register of his voice, as if he wants to say that Mary, she's not shouting at that person, I seek refuge in Allah from you if you're God aware. No, she's saying it in a low tone. She's saying, I seek refuge in Allah from you if you're God aware. This is so the person is, it influences that person. That person is convinced to stay away from her. And then whenever the angel speaks, whenever Gabriel replies to her, he says, I'm just a messenger from your Lord, and I want to give the good news of a child to you. Again, Sheikh Shuaisha uses the low register of his voice because the angel is consoling her. He's saying, don't worry, I'm just a messenger from your Lord. So he uses the qarar and the low register of his voice. Don't worry, I'm just a messenger from your Lord. I want to give you the good news of a son. Now here is where she is surprised, she is astonished. No longer does Sheikh Shuaisha use the low register of his voice. He uses the high register of his voice because he wants to show that Mary is astonished, is surprised. How is it possible for me to have a son when no mortal, when no human being has ever touched me, and I am not an unchaste and immoral woman? And in reply to her, again, he uses the high register of his voice to show that the angel wants to convey the message of Allah in a very definitive way so that she is convinced, okay? Again, if the angel wanted to use the low register of his voice, she probably wouldn't be convinced. But whenever he uses the high register of his voice, he wants to show the importance and he wants to lay emphasis on the message of his Lord, of Allah. He says, قَالَ كَذَلِكِ قَالَ رَبُّكِ هُوَ عَلَيَّ هَيِّنٌ. It's easy for your Lord to do this. And that is so that we make your son a sign for people and also a mercy from us. وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا. And this will definitely happen. So as you can see, Sheikh Shuaisha, who was using maqam rust in this recitation entirely, he uses the different levels of his voice, the qarar and the jawab, the low register and the high register of his voice to convey the meaning of these verses in the best way possible. Now, let's go ahead and listen to the recitation of Surah Maryam, verses 16 to 21, recited by Sheikh Abul Ainain, Shuaisha.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واذكر في الكتاب مريم إذ انتبذت من أهلها مكانا شرقيا فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا فأرسلنا إليها روحنا فتمثل لها بشرا سويا قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما
صدق الله العلي العظيم.
ذكر وموعظة ونور، فيه شفاء للصدور، وشفيعنا يوم النشور. آياته تروي المدى وصفاته